What's up, everyone? I'm Coach D, and I swear, you cannot make this stuff up. For all the bootlickers who live in Bootlick USA, this guy bootlicks the most. This guy is a gay, black conservative who, I'm not kidding you, once went to a conservative event and then that night went to a bar where conservatives were hanging out and they bullied him by calling him gay and black epithets. This guy, after going through that, went on CNN to whine about it and hopefully, I guess, get empathy from the left who literally fight for people like him all the time. Now he's back to making some of the most ignorant takes on X and on social media about conservatives. He is literally out here bootlicking so hard, I don't know how this guy's tongue isn't in pain right now. His take on what happened in New Orleans has to be one of the most pick-me takes I have ever heard in my life. Like, I don't know how these people look themselves in the mirror every day and then go out and say these things in public. And it's obviously just for likes and clicks. And see, I know sometimes you guys will ask, why do we even pay these people any attention? Because these people do damage to our community. And if we do not call them out, this stuff goes unchecked. And I refuse to allow shit like this to go unchecked.
We're about a 1 day into 2024, and I need you to understand that we're entering a very dangerous period in America. And I want to break down exactly what is happening right now. As I said on one of my previous tweets, what was going to happen on New Year's Day was going to happen whether or not it was Trump or Kamala coming in. I think that if Kamala had won that election, it would have been used as a pretext to really crack down on the liberties of the average American and basically push this country into socialism. That was the plan. Everybody knew that was the plan for a Kamala Harris term, which is why I'm so glad we defeated it.
So dude keeps licking his lips because they're so dry from all the ass kissing he was doing right before turning the camera on. And how much more socialism can we be pushed into? I mean, didn't Barack Obama push us into socialism? And then didn't Joe Biden push us into socialism? But luckily, we didn't elect Kamala Harris because that time we were actually going to be pushed into socialism. What's crazy is that MAGAs actually fall for this. They actually do believe that if you elect a Democrat, we're getting pushed into socialism. Like Republicans use that every single election cycle, and they all say it. I've heard so many people say, well, I'm not going to vote for Barack Obama because that's going to push us into socialism. Well, I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden because that's going to push us into socialism. None of these people, not any single one of them, knows what socialism actually is.
But that does not mean that there's not a lot of bad stuff that is coming our way and that will continue to come our way. Let me tell you something. When we push about DEI and anti-DEI in the United States military, what you have to understand is that the DEI initiatives in the military and making white people feel bad for being white and not wanting to criticize people of color, et cetera, et cetera.
When I tell you how bootlicking pick-me it is for a black person to say something like, making white people feel bad about being white and not wanting to criticize people of color. Like, I'm telling you, these people hate themselves. They hate the color of their skin. They hate their vernacular. Like, they just hate everything about them that reminds them that they are black. And in order for them to feel like they're, closer to white people, and especially like the racist whites in the Republican Party who will not accept them no matter what, is that they have to bash black people. They have to bash DEI. They have to bash affirmative action. They have to bash anything that gives a hand up to any person of color. Like, this is all they have. If he doesn't do this, he is not at all anyone who has any popularity in the Republican Party. Like, when you are a person of color bootlicker, that every single time you turn on your camera, you have to bootlick, you have to criticize your community, because if you don't, they have no use for you. And this is why he comes up with this this stretch that is going to cause him to pull every muscle in his body, because this take, how he tries to connect that to what happened in New Orleans, is the most garbage take I've ever heard in my life.
This is the stuff that led to the New Orleans terrorist attacker, who actually was an active duty army member. And people were afraid to report him for extremism. People were afraid to go to their superiors and say this person is dangerous. And they were afraid to do that because he was Muslim, right? And that's what the DEI stuff in the military, like, that is how it makes America more dangerous. Because it teaches people to go against their nature, to go against what they know is right and correct, in place of political correctness, right? So had that person have been reported to his superiors for extremism, had that been escalated, had he had that on his record, had all of those things followed him, it may have been quite the different story. He may not have even ever been put in the position to execute a terrorist attack in New Orleans, but he did.
And just for the record, he made all of that up. He made it all up. There has not been a person who came out and said, oh, you know, I knew he was extreme, but I was afraid to let anyone know because, you know, he's Muslim. You know, I knew this guy was going to one day do something like this, but I didn't want to say anything to our superiors, you know, because, you know, he's a person of color and that's what DEI does. He made all of that up. He made it up. He made it up because he needed to put together a take that mentioned DEI and what happened in New Orleans. He needed a way to blame the fact that black people and people of color are trying to get ahead in this world, are trying to get a leg up in this world. He had to connect that with something that happened in America that was horrible. This is freaking disgusting. It is so horrible. And dude, they're still not going to pick you. Like, you literally got treated like shit by them to your face because you were gay and black. You literally came on your knees to the black community and to leftists to come to your defense. And now, because you are such a freaking pick-me, you're out here with the same garbage ass takes. So the next time they invite you to an event and they bully you and treat you like shit again, I don't know why anyone would ever, like, I've told you guys, these people have no room. There's no room in my life for them. I will never, no matter how bad they treat him, no matter what happens to him, he can never come to me for empathy. I'm sorry, but the things that these people do to the community, what they do to black and brown people by bringing up these garbage ass takes and putting fear into white people in America, that is the type of things that gets cops pulling black people over, pulling Muslim people over, pulling brown people over, being afraid of them for no damn reason except for videos like this, and pulling their gun or shooting them or doing something horrible to them because of black people like this with garbage ass takes like this. These dudes are disgusting. Seriously. He deserves anything he gets from these people when they decide to treat him like shit. Period. Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in their heart, I tell them stop. Vacation on the yacht.